Monday. I look like I've got a tan today, don't I? I don't. It's actually dust. Because this morning I was dragging the arena, which involves riding on a tractor, driving the tractor and dragging a drag behind me. But it throws up all the dust. And so if I drag the arena in the morning, it means that the rest of the day I look like I have a tan. It's not bad, is it? It's not a bad deal. All right, this is an email from Carmen. It's nice and short. It says, I'd love to know if you have any tips on how to stop binge eating. I've recovered from anorexia and I've just been diagnosed with binge eating disorder. My team aren't really helping. I'd love to know if you have any tips. Thank you so much, Carmen. Well, Carmen, my tip for helping binge eating is to stop restricting. You say that you're recovered from anorexia. If you're still binging, I have to say I doubt it. What probably happened is you gain weight. That's not the same as being recovered from anorexia. And I imagine that somewhere in there, there's still a load of restriction. And the tricky part is that restriction looks different. It can look different. So when you thought of yourself as having anorexia, you may have been restricting more heavily. And you're probably still binging. So you're probably in a binge restrict cycle. And then maybe your restriction got comparatively a little bit less. So you gained some weight, which is great. But the restriction was still there because you can restrict less and still be restricting. And your brain knows that you're restricting. Here's the really annoying thing about our brains. We can't bullshit them. If your brain knows that if you wanted to eat more of that chocolate cake but you only had one slice because one slice is allowed but two slices would not be allowed, and you can eat one slice and people see you eating a slice of chocolate cake and they think, oh, she must be recovered from anorexia, but really you know you want it too. Well, your brain knows that you want it too as well. Your brain's like, I wanted more and more didn't come, therefore food must be still scarce. Your brain doesn't care that you gained some weight. Your brain is looking at the restriction, and therefore what it'll often do is next time you eat chocolate cake, it'll be like, I'm going to take this whole damn cake before she stops me eating. And then you binge. So restriction, even on a lower level of restriction, and even on a level where everybody else looks at you and is like, that's healthy eating right there. That's a good diet. You know, if you wanted more food, you're restricting and your brain knows it. So that's when the binges are going to come. And I tell a lot of people when they, say they tell me they got binge eating disorder, and I'm like, I bet you, hi Dave, I bet you that you're restricting somewhere, and they'll be like, no, I'm not restricting. I eat a lot. I'm like, I don't care. I didn't say you didn't eat a lot. I said, I bet you there's still restriction in there, because this is the thing. Like, you can actually be eating a lot and still restricting. It's bizarre, isn't it? But it's true. And so if I were you, I'd just have a bit of think about that and try and be really, really honest. And another way that we can restrict, kind of like slyly, is we can restrict by not really asking ourselves the question, do I want some more food? So that's where you sort of like eat a meal and then you're like, right, off we go, gotta go and do some stuff, keep busy, blah, 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 blah. And maybe if you just sat at the table a bit longer with the sort of like leftovers and the foods and, you know, whatever's extra, you might have been like, oh, actually I have a second helping of that. I used to do that, and that was a way that I realized I was restricting, actually, was just by not asking myself the question, do I actually want any more, after I'd eaten the allocated portion that I had decided should be adequate for me. Maybe just have a think about those things. I hope you're doing well. If you listen to this, give us an update in the comments. Bye.